Welcome everyone to the Knitting by the Sea podcast. My name is Lisa. I am Saratoga Knitting on Instagram and on Ravelry, and I welcome you to my home. I'm in a little bit of a different location today. We're having a bit of a snowstorm, so I thought I'd move into my office space and see if I could record today. It's been a while, but I'll catch you up on everything that's been happening. I have some finished objects. I have some works in progress. I have some acquisitions, and I'll have some life chatter at the end. So let's get started. Finished objects. I have a few to show you. I won't show you everything that I've done this year, but I'll show you a few things today. The first that I'm going to show you is the sweater that I'm wearing. I really like this. It's called the Hradskar sweater by Maria Bjornstall, and I think this was named after a small island in Sweden. And Maria had actually contacted me, and based on my other knitting projects in the past, she said that I might enjoy this, and I took a look at it and I thought this would be really great. I really like the motif on the top here, so this was really, really fun. The sizing was perfect on this pattern. The arms are just the right length for me. The body is the right length. It's loose enough for me, so it was a really perfect and a really enjoyable knit. I used knit picks. This is a alpaca and wool mixture, and it's really, really nice. It's super, super soft. It does, of course, grow if you wash it or block it too aggressively. But it has been a beautiful, beautiful acquisition to my wardrobe this winter, and I have been wearing it a lot, and I really, really like it. It's just super, super nice, great pattern. All the instructions were perfect, and I really enjoyed it. The second sweater that I finished this year is called the Cabled Yoke Pullover, and it's by Lydia Karabinich. And I'll put a picture of all of these up here if I remember how to do all the editing after not having done it for a while. But this is a sweater that I made back, I have to say it was probably 2001, 2002, so a long time ago. We were living in Florida at the time, I remember it. And it was in the old Interweave Knits magazine. Loved that magazine. Those of you that are my age and out there know that was just a beautiful, beautiful magazine. It's no longer in print, although you can still get back copies of it digitally, which is what I was able to do. So this pattern I made it twice back in the day, and I still have the paper copy, and it has all of my notes on it and my scribbles as to when I finished a round or finished something. It was all written down at that time, and I still have that, but it wasn't in great shape. And I use Knit Companion now for really all of my knitting, so I haven't used a hard copy piece of paper in years. So I wanted to see if I could find this pattern again, and I did. I was able to find that Interweave Knits, the Interweave Knits volume for that. I was able to find that again and order it digitally, and it was great. So I have now I have the entire magazine for that month and that year. But I do have the pattern of this sweater in it, and I really, really enjoyed it. Like I said, I made two. The first one was early on in my kind of getting back into knitting, and I think that the yarn that I used was a little bit scratchy. So I used it, and I used it a lot, but it wasn't the best. I really just liked the way it looked. And the second one that I made on a beautiful yarn. However, it's a top-down sweater, and I made the neck it's a turtleneck, and I made the neck a little bit too tight, so it was always just a little bit of a problem. So the neck was always a little bit tight, so I didn't use it that much. But again, I still liked the way it looked, and I kept that pattern because I always said I'm going to knit this again. And so finally this year I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And so I found the pattern. I got it from the Interweave website, downloaded it, and it was actually right there. It was beautiful, and I finally completed a third one, and I really like it. Let me see if I can get it straight here. Yeah, here it is. It's beautiful. You probably can't see it that well. I'll put a picture of this pattern up here, but it is beautiful, and it has these really delicate cables that start up at the neck and then run right down over the yoke. They're really super easy. They're very Very, very subtle, but they're really pretty. And it is all garter stitch. So it is knitting and purling in the round. So you do have to, it's garter stitch in the round. So you have to knit one row and purl one row. So you do need to pay attention to it, but it's really nice. And I use the same yarn that I used on this sweater. So again, super, super soft, and it just drapes beautifully. And I'm really happy with it. I've worn it a couple of times to work already. These two sweaters have been in heavy rotation when I've gone into Boston this winter. So that is my second sweater project completed, and I'm super happy with it. Let's see, the third project that I finished. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. I have finished a Bits and Bobs. Let me see if I can find it here. Yep. Side. So I finished a Bits and Bobs cowl. This is by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. If you remember, I've done 2 different Bits and Bobs blankets, and I had not made the cowl. The cowl, the Bits and Bobs it's a kind of a similar to fisherman's rib. It looks like brioche, but it is not either one of those. It's a little bit of a riff on the fisherman's rib. And when you do the Bits and Bobs cowl, you're just knitting. So you're knitting back and forth. When you're doing it in the round, you do have to have one round of purl stitches, but it's actually fine. It's very meditative. And once you get into the rhythm of it, you really don't have to think about it. All you have to think about is that when you come to the beginning of the round, you have to just look and see which one you're doing. Are you doing a knit row, or are you doing a purl row? And once you get going on it, it becomes pretty easy to see what you're doing. But this one, it's done with 2 strands of fingering weight, and so what I usually do is kind of just choose 2 scraps that I have and put them together, and this is the one I did. And basically, I just used the purple yarn to start until I ran out, and then I switched over to some of this other yarn that I had just pulled out of my stash. They're beautiful. You can use one yarn that's just the same, so a single color of yarn, and do it through and combine it with a speckled skein of yarn, or a variegated skein of yarn. Really, really pretty. There's just so many options to have, and it's really super squishy. It's big, so it goes around your neck and can really just keep you nice and warm. Kay was saying that she has one that she uses when she gets into bed at night, and then when she gets up in the morning, and then she has another one that she uses when she actually goes outside. This one I've used at work a couple of times. It's very squishy and very, 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 very comfortable. So I'm really happy. This is really nice if you're just kind of looking for something that is easy, not completely mindless. It does keep you on your toes a bit, but it's just very meditative once you understand what was going in. That was the key to my knitting this year, was some things that were definitely meditative. I also made a hitchhiker. I love the hitchhiker. The hitchhiker is by Martina Bem, and it is based on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe. And if you've ever read that, if you haven't, you should. It's a wonderful book. And the number 42 is the answer to everything in the universe. So Martina did this, and this is really a single skein little scarf. It starts out at one end, and then it increases, and you do these little bits here on each end, and there should be 42 of them. I never quite make it to 42, but I almost got there. I forget what the number is, but it's perfectly fine. It's beautiful, and I've made several of these over the years. And again, this is a really easy. Again, once you notice, you know what you're doing. It's about, I think it's 5, 6, 7 rows. You're doing each of these little, it's like a comb, and it's really just back and forth. And then you're binding off some stitches. Really easy, pretty pattern to use if you have a beautiful single skein and you don't know what to do with it. And this I actually used this today when I went out to shovel this morning. Really pretty, really happy with this. Again, this actually, I did a lot of this on the plane going back and forth to Key West. We did go to Key West this winter. So that was the next thing that I did was, as you know, I'm a patron of the Bakery Bears, And every year they do their advent calendar, which is so much fun. So they do something special every single day. Either they're driving around looking at different places, or they're cooking different things. Kay is knitting something different all the time, and there's usually a pattern or two that comes out during the Advent season. And so she will do every other day. She'll do a knitting one. This year was a little bit different. Their daughter, Bryony, has gone off to university, so they had some extra time on their hands this year. So they actually went away, and they went and stayed at, I forget the castle, was it Barnard Castle? I forget where it was. I'll have to look and see where that was. But it was lovely. They stayed on on this castle estate, and they had a lovely little country cottage, and that was the theme this year, was a country cottage Christmas. So it was really lovely. And what Kay did is she had two different patterns this year. She had a hat pattern, and she had some mitts to knit from. And so that was the thing. Mark and I decided to go to Key West this winter in December. We went down for the month, and we stayed in the condo where my mother-in-law had stayed back in March. So I knew I was going to be there, so I wanted to have some projects that were going to be fingering weight, because it was going to be in Florida, that weren't too difficult and that didn't require too much yarn. And so that's really what I was looking forward to. So this year I decided to do Kay's two patterns, and I also did a sock pattern plus that hitchhiker that I already showed you. But Kay's patterns were great. So this is a sweet little hat. This was a skein of West Yorkshire Spinners. They come out with a seasonal skein every year, colorway every year, and what this is. So it has sparkle in it, so you can actually see the sparkle. So this is a really cute, sweet, simple little hat. It's got a rolled up brim, and then we had some extra special a popcorn stitch with a contrasting yarn along the edge. Really, really pretty, just a simple little hat, and I really liked the construction, and I also liked the sizing of this hat. I like to wear a hat that's kind of a cap on me with the short hair. Really sweet. It's got, as I said, it has a turned rim, so it's actually nice and warm around your ears. And then along with that came this pattern for these sweet little mitts as well. So just the same yarn with the contrast at the top and the contrast in the middle. You also, I think Kay had instructions on how to put a little star on each of these, but I didn't do that. I just did these. So these were perfect for Advent, for the move up to Christmas. It was great. It was really nice to have these patterns here. The other thing that I did while I was there is, for Advent, I also, I've never gotten an Advent calendar. They're very expensive, and it's one of those things that someday maybe I will do that, but at this point in time, I probably wouldn't utilize it in the right way. So what I ended up doing, Nicole C. Mendez has a Advent skein of yarn that I could do. So I pre-ordered that, and I thought that would be a really nice thing to take with me. And basically, it's a self-striping yarn, and you do a stripe every day of December. So then you finish them off on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. I just did them one at a time, and I kind of ended up just kind of going with it as I went, but super fun. So this was the colorway. So it's Christmas colorway. I just really did I just did a vanilla sock because I just wanted to have the stripes. Really fun. So there's no stripe that repeats. Really, it was just perfect for me. I got to see, you do one stripe, you're like, oh, I can see the next color, and then you want to stop and go on from there. But this was a great option for me, and I think I probably would do this next year as well. So it wasn't an investment in a whole 24 mini skeins of yarn. But one skein of self-striping for Christmas was absolutely great. It was really a lot of fun. The other thing that I did as well is I also ordered a skein of Christmas-themed yarn from Lisette Fiber Nymphs Dye Works. And these I also did while I was down there. These were fun too. So again, self-striping yarn all the way up. Now, the stripes aren't different, but they're a theme for Christmas, so fun. And this is also a bit sparkly, so these were really fun to do as well. So I get my sock knitting fix in during the time that I was away. Where else are they? Okay, and then I think, is this the last one that I did? It's hard to remember. There's so many things. I think so. And then the last thing I did, because I had done this sweater and then the other sweater, I still had a couple of skeins left of that beautiful alpaca wool mix. And there was a pattern called the Lemon Drizzle Mittens, and I believe it was a free pattern, again, during the month of December on Ravelry. It's probably still out there now, but you got a bit of a pattern each week probably, and they're a beautiful pair of mittens. Now I didn't do them at the time. I did them when I got back, but that was fine. They're really pretty. Again, they've got this beautiful little cabling detail that goes up. You might have seen on Instagram, I made a rookie mistake on these. When I did the first one, I was doing a right-handed mitten? And you know that if you're going to do this, you have something on the back. They're not just generic. You need to make sure that your split for the thumb is on the right side. And I didn't do that correctly on whichever one. So I realized that I had done it and it wasn't feeling right in here. It just wasn't right. And so I looked at it and I looked at the pattern and I looked at my knitting and I looked at the pattern, and it finally struck me that I had put the thumb gusset on the wrong side. I was like, oh no, and I couldn't fix that because the back is the back and the palm is the palm. So I had to rip it back. Which I did. I don't mind doing that. I'm really a process knitter, so I'm just enjoying the knitting of it. And I wasn't in any rush to get these done. I wanted to have them, but I wasn't in any particular rush. So I had to rip the first one back, redo it. So do the thumb gusset on the correct side. And then when I came to the second mitten, I was very, very careful in putting that gusset in. I wanted to make sure I didn't have to do knit them all again. So these were really fun. They're really pretty, and again, they're out of that beautiful wool alpaca, so super, super, super soft, super warm, which we really need. We've had some really, really cold weather here recently, but I'm really happy with these, and it was nice to just kind of use up some of this extra yarn that I have. All right, so I think that is all of the finished objects that I'm going to show you today. So we'll move on to some works in progress. Works in progress. I have a few that I'm working on, not too many. The first one I wanted to show you is called the Riggy Cowl. It's by Gudrun Johnson, the Shetland trader. She actually just started up a new podcast a few episodes ago, and I'm really enjoying it. And we also got to meet her and talk with her. Sophia and I went to the New England Fiber Festival. It was in Boston a couple of weekends ago, and we had a really nice time, and we got to chat with Gudrun as well. I've always liked her patterns. I've made a couple of them. I've made a half, and I think I've made something else by her, but I really like her aesthetic. It's really pretty. And pretty sure this is a free pattern on Ravelry, again, Riggy's Cowl, and it's a cowl that's made in 2 pieces. So I'm going to show it to you here. I've got lots of yarn stuck to it here. But you basically do 2 pieces that are like this. So I have 2 sides of it. And then you do a 3-needle bind off to put them together. And I'm actually doing that with a contrast yarn. See it better on this side. It's really pretty and fun here. And it then becomes a kind of a scarf cowl. So I'm gonna attach the 2 pieces in the back, and then they'll go over your neck and go down. And I'll try to put a picture in here as well. Really pretty. I went through a process with this as I normally do on a lot of my knitting projects. Some of you who've been watching me for a while know that I do this. I'll start out with one yarn, maybe not like that, move to something else, try something different. And that's really what I did. I had a beautiful skein of Rambler yarn that I will use for something. I just don't know what yet, but it's this beautiful color. So it's kind of an olivey green color. I really like this. And this cowl is meant to be used with just a single skein of fingering weight yarn. That's what it's designed for. So I thought I would try this. This yarn is really nice, but it's a bit scratchy, and I just didn't really like the fabric that I was coming out with. And I knew that if I wasn't happy, I wouldn't continue with it. So I thought about it and thought about it. And I have some leftover Norwegian yarn that I decided to go ahead and try. And so I tried that. That's what this beautiful color is here. And I tried that, and I just did that single strand of fingering weight yarn, which is what's the Ralma. And again, I didn't like the fabric that I was getting. And then I thought, well, let me unravel that again. And then I thought somewhere in the back of my mind that I had a skein of lace weight mohair, something along those lines. I'm sure that that's what this is, that I had purchased to add to some spinning that I had done. So that's what this is here. And so I decided to try to use this. And so I combined this with the Ralma, and then the fabric came out perfectly. That just adds a little bit of softness and kind of a little bit of oomph to the stitches, and you don't see that's what that is there, but it's there. And I'm really, really happy with the way this came out, and I'm looking forward to this. So this, I'm going to be using this contrast yarn here, and I think you have an option too of doing an I-cord around the neck when you finished with that, when you've gotten the neck piece bound together as well. So I think I will also do that, and that will be really pretty. This is a great pattern to use up. Again, use up some yarn that you have, because you can do multiple colors. I think some of her samples have one color on one side, another color on the other, and then a third color as a contrast. So really fun, really easy, and yeah, just a great way to use up some really pretty yarn that you have. So I'm looking forward to finishing this. This goes really quickly, and I might finish it today. Maybe I won't finish it today, but I'm going to work on it this afternoon as well, and at least get the three cord bind off taken care of, so I don't have things falling all over me. So that's that one. The second one that I did, I gave myself a present this year. I needed to have some type of a present. And I've been looking at Kate Davies' Yomp sweater. I'll put a picture of it up here. And I've really liked it. It's beautiful, beautiful colorwork sweater. And I was thinking maybe I can put together some yarns, find some colors that match. And I just decided, nope. This time around, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to buy the kit for the pattern, and then I'll have this beautiful yarn that she produces. I'll have all the right colors, the colors that I really love to have, and I will get that started. And so I bought this before Christmas. It was kind of like a pre-Christmas present, but I didn't start it at all. I have the package, the package of yarn. It's just beautiful. It's got all these lovely, really lovely. This is the blue one because I've already wound up the other colors in my bag, but really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful yarn. And I started it. And again, beautiful, still a beautiful pattern. I really like it. It's really cute. On the bottom of it, I'm going to show it to you here. It's really colorful. So these are all the colors that are in there. There's this kind of reddish brick color, or yellowish color, and then the blue, and then the main body of the sweater is in this white or cream color. So it's gonna be really pretty. It's a bottom up. So yeah, and then there's yoke work at the top. So it'll be really, really nice. Certainly something to keep your mind occupied. Well, I started this bottom piece was perfectly fine. It's lovely. You're knitting and purling. No issues with that whatsoever. Then I started the main piece of the sweater. So the body. And the body is basically just white with these little blue blips in it. And the blue blips kind of they move twice. So it's a pattern all the way up. Really pretty, really, really pretty. And I'm going to put a picture in here of what I did and what the pattern said at the beginning. So when I went and did this, And I knit a few, maybe an inch or so, a couple of repeats of the chart for the body. And I just wasn't liking what I was seeing. And what was happening, I'll show you the picture here. What was happening was that the blue blip, based on the instructions in the pattern, was happening right over the color on the bottom. So there wasn't any break. So you'd have this rosy brick color, and right there would be a blue blip right over it. And I did a few rows, and I was like, I'm not happy with that. I don't know why I don't like the way that looks. There just wasn't enough of a break. And so I went to Ravelry, and I'm like, I wonder if you're supposed to do just a plain round in between, or whether you started a different line on the pattern. But I couldn't find anything with that. And I looked at some samples of ones that other people had done. And if you zoomed in, the ones that had done this color so that you could see it was light, the same thing was happening. So it was that little blip of blue was right over the color at the bottom. So I'm like, huh. And then I pulled up, and again, I'll put a picture in here. I pulled up a picture of the actual pattern, the picture of the sweater in the pattern. And that doesn't happen on the sweater sample that they have. The blue color starts where I have it now. So I've got it over the white portion of the bottom of the hem. So you can actually see it. And so it was kind of annoying. I was a little bit annoyed at that because I decided to knit back. And so basically I think what had happened was when they knit the sample, they either did a row of plain, just white to start with, or the cream, or they started the body chart on what is like, there's like six of it or something, instead of starting on row 1, the pattern when they did the sweater started on row 4. So it was the opposite repeat of that particular little chart. And I'm like, it's those little things that are really, really annoying. Maybe I just get I have too much annoyance this year, but it was really just annoying because you want something to look, especially if you buy the kit that you want all the colors and you want it to look exactly the same, to just find that at the beginning. And I'm glad I looked at it, and I'm glad I decided to kind of investigate and rip back, because I would not have been happy with it. It just wouldn't look, it just looks off. It doesn't look like the sweater. And I know it's a really little thing, but it was really, really annoying to me. So I guess it's just, just take that for what it may be, but always, feel free to look at your knitting and you don't have to necessarily blindly follow whatever pattern is there. You can look at it and make adjustments if need be, to keep yourself happy, but also to make something that you want and that you're going to actually you're going to wear, and you're going to want to wear, and you're not going to look at it and go, oh, I remember this was an issue every time. There is no one who would be a non-knitter who would look at your hem and go, I wonder why they didn't do a little break in that color there, or move that color over. But I'd always see it there. So I was just a little annoyed with that, but I'm going to put it aside because I fixed it, and I'm going to move on. And it's going to be a beautiful sweater. I really am enjoying it now that I've kind of gotten that little blip out of the way. But this is really going to be pretty, very, very pretty. I'm really looking forward to this long-term project. I'm not in any rush to get this done, but so this will be something that I'd be wearing next winter, not this winter for sure. Really, really, very, very happy with it, and I'm glad I splurged and did that. It's really beautiful yarn, and yeah, it will be beautiful, and it will be the right way by the time that I'm finished with it. So really happy with that. This was a great, when you buy a kit from her, it's great because all the yarn, and you want this really lovely bag. It came in a Kate Davies and Company bag, which is also lovely. So I'm just doing everything right in there. leaving all the colors right here in the bag. Super, super pretty. But yeah, very, very happy. Really happy with that, and I will overcome my annoyance. get that done. Let's see. The what's this? Sorry, I'm definitely out of practice, so I've got things kind of all around me on the floor that you can't really see. Another gift that I got for myself this year was the Woolly Thistle. It does a sock bag every year. So I ordered one this year in preparation for Christmas. I actually didn't take anything. I thought I'd take this with me and these would be my sock yarns, but I decided not to. I decided to do the Advent things anyway. But it's great. I got a skein of Munden. This is it right here. Really pretty yarn. I have a Zauberball, crazy Zauberball. Those are always fun. I have two skeins. This beautiful. Two skeins of Drover, Daughter of a Shepherd. I've never knit with this yarn before, so I'm real happy about this. I'm excited to do something. I don't know if I'll make socks out of this, but this will be beautiful. And then, of course, the Rambler yarn as well that I had already skimmed up. So that was a fun gift to myself as well. Again, not something I do every year, but this was kind of a different year. So I have this. I decided to start with these. You know, as I go into Boston 2 days a week. I work at home 3 days a week. I go into Boston 2 days a week. So I do a lot of sock knitting, depending upon whether I'm taking the bus or driving, and then at lunchtime as well. So I started this lovely pair of socks. They're the Helmsley socks, and I'll link to the pattern here. Really, really, really pretty, by Emma Barnaby. And yep, super pretty, really nice. Just working through when I'm on break. So I always have a pair of socks on the go. They're just easy to take with me, easy to do. Let's see, and then I also have upcoming. I didn't buy this for myself. This was a Christmas gift from my daughter and my husband. But I also got a kit from the Woolly Thistle, and this is for the Tree Light yarn pattern. I'll put a picture of it up here by Jennifer Steingast. It was really beautiful. A beautiful sweater, yoke sweater again, but it's all full of Let Lopey, Dan of the Bakery Bear's favorite yarn. And so I have a ton of it. I'm looking forward to doing this as well. I'm going to work on the yomp first before I get this underway. If I get the yomp done, maybe like up to the sleeves, maybe I'll cast this up to start. But again, a long-term project, but I'm really happy you'll see me as I progress on this one when I get that going. It'll be really nice to do. And then the last thing I was going to show you, someone had asked me about it, so I thought I would show you again. If you haven't watched me before, my daughter Sophia and I went to Egypt 3-4 years ago now, and we had a wonderful 2-week vacation in Egypt. It was absolutely amazing. And that Christmas, when we got back at Christmas, I had some thoughts about getting back into counted cross stitch. I did a lot of counted cross stitch when I was younger, and then I kind of got away from it as my eyesight got worse. But now I've had my cataract operation, and it is like my eyesight is amazing. I still need to have glasses for close up, but the eyes are exactly the same, so I'm not trying to like move around. I can just wear readers now for close up, and my distance is perfect. And that was best decision I ever made, was to have the cataracts taken care of. But I ordered I think this is a Long Dog sampler pattern. It's a beautiful pattern, and it is Egypt based, so it has pyramids, and it's really beautiful. It's huge. So I'm only, at the very beginning of it, but this is it so far. So I'm kind of going up one side, and then I'll go up and go up again. It's really, really, really big. And it's all one color, but it's really pretty. And Sophia got me a cute little needle minder here. It was really nice this Christmas. But yeah, I am working on it slowly but surely, and enjoying it when I do. So I think that's plenty. It's what I've been working on for the last few months. All right, so let's move on to some Life Chatter. So as I said earlier, it has been a while since I've been on here. Many of you know that my father-in-law went into hospice a year ago in October. Yes. So he went into hospice and stayed at home. He had cancer all through his body, and he was suffering from dementia as well. It was very quick, and he was in hospice. Was amazing. It was amazing. But I helped a lot with that because my home office was in my mother-in-law's house. And so I was really there at least 3 days a week. And then I was on the weekend. So I was really her co-caregiver for him. I was able to kind of stay with him when she had to go out and do things, and just kind of helped through the paperwork and just the myriad things that needed to be done, decisions that needed to be made, and the medication that he had to be given. She kind of let me handle that. And he died in December, and so then we went through all of that happens that has to happen when someone passes away, and that was a lot, certainly emotionally for the whole family. And part of that was that my mother-in-law decided that she was going to go to Key West and do her vacation. She loves Key West. They haven't been able to go in the last few years. And she decided she wanted to go. And she wanted to go for 2 months, which was great. We were all for that. So she made reservations. We had a beautiful Airbnb in the Key West Golf Club that she really loves. She has a couple of friends down there. Just got a really lovely place. Our only caveat was that we didn't want her to go alone. She had some health issues, and so we were just like, we don't want you to go alone. So Sophia said, I'll go to Key West for a month. So she went down she was going to go down for the first month of last March, and she did do that. And Mark, my husband, was going to go down for the month of April. So he was planning to go at the end of March and stay for 4 weeks and then fly back with her. And my other brother-in-law one of my brother-in-laws and his wife happened to be there. They were getting ready to leave, and the day that Sophia was actually supposed to fly out, my mother-in-law ended up having a heart attack, and she died. And so that was, you can just imagine, here poor Sophia is still down in Key West. My husband was devastated because he was literally supposed to be there 2-3 days later. And, my other brother-in-law was there. And so he kind of had to take care of some things. Sophia had stayed, and we got Mark an earlier flight, and he went down there. And so they were down there for about a week together. They had to deal with all of her clothes. They had to deal with the funeral home. They had to bring her remains back. It was just, it was crazy. And we had just gone through everything with my father-in-law. So you can imagine what that was like then. So we had to deal with everything, my mother-in-law's house, everything in the house, had to have her will probated. There were issues with the beneficiaries of the will. It was, I have never been through anything that personally stressful, and they weren't even my parents. It was horrendous. You don't even know how much stuff. And she had spent like the 3 years, she had been cleaning out her house so much, and there was just so much stuff at the end. You just don't even know how much stuff is in a house. We had to dispose of all of her furniture. We had to, they had to have one of the floors. They actually had all the floors redone in the house. We had to have it re-landscaped. She had a big yard in the back, but it needed to be re-landscaped. We needed to just keep things going in the house for that period of time. It was very rough. So finally we got the house sold last summer, which was great. Young couple bought it, which was really, really, really nice. So that we took care of that. And then they've been able to disperse the rest of her assets. And so those things have kind of settled it down now. There's a lot of emotion going on. It happens in any family, anytime this kind of thing happens. But for us, it was just so quick. There was no downtime dealing with these issues. So that was what what kept me away from podcasting. I didn't have the emotional energy to do it and to think about it. And I know that this will make me feel better, but I just don't have the gumption to kind of do it. And again, some of you know, I work in the financial, I'm a director of operations for the financial aid office at Wentworth. And last year was the worst year for the FAFSA. It was a new FAFSA rollout for people, which was it was horrendous. And everything was delayed. So we had so much stress at work. I had so much stress at home. It was like, I just want to leave that year and let that go. 2024 is gone and done. But we did decide to go ahead and go to Key West. We wanted to go down. Mark was like, we have never done this before. Let's do it. Let's just go down to Key West and we'll stay. We stayed at the same place that she did. It was a lovely, lovely place. And we were just going to relax for a month. I was going to work from down there. I had 2 weeks off, and then I was also going to work from down there. And so, of course, we left. We left for Key West. We had to go to my nephew's wedding in Saratoga for the first weekend of December, and then we came home, and then he and I flew to Key West. Sophia stayed here with the cat. And the first day that we were there, he got so sick. He was so sick. I'm sure he had the norovirus because he nothing stayed down, and it was horrible. He was so sick. And he in general has weak kind of intestinal stomach problems from an operation that he had years and years ago. So anytime he gets hit with something like that, it's like 10 times worse than it would be. It wouldn't be pleasant for me, but it's 10 times worse for him. So pretty much his whole first week was just between the bed and the bathroom. I felt so bad. And it was one of the weeks that I had off. So I was just doing my knitting and watching Netflix and videos and things and reading and kind of enjoying things. But he was so sick. So anyway, so then we, I had another week of work, 2 weeks of work, and then we had the last week off. So that was it was nice. We had some nice meals out. We went walking every day. We went into Key West a couple of times, which was fun. It was a nice break. It was nice to get away. But then we came back, and now we've been into the very, 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 very cold. And as you know, or maybe you don't know, that we live in a very, very old house. It was built as a warehouse in 1750. And then it was converted into a residence in 1850. So it's very, very old. There's very little to no insulation in any of the walls. We did insulate the cellar ceiling, so it wasn't freezing cold coming up through the wood floors anymore. And but the pipes to the washing machine is in a closet, and the water pipe that comes into the washing machine is against an outside wall. And you wouldn't think that would be bad, but if it gets too cold, that's the first place. That's the only place that will kind of freeze up. So when it gets really, really cold, if we have a really cold snap, so things get down below 20 Fahrenheit, you get down into the 12, 13, 14 range. That is probably going to start to want to freeze up. And so we have to run the washing machine all the time. And on a couple of nights when it gets really, really cold, I have to just pop on my alarm. So I have to get up like at midnight and then get up at 3 a.m. and run it again so it does not freeze up overnight. So that's always fun. So we've had a little bit of that this winter. So coming back from Florida to that was a little bit of a culture shock. And now we're starting to get some storms coming in. We had a storm last week. We had a storm today. And now we're hearing that we might have a storm next weekend as well. So we're gonna get some snow. The only good thing is we don't have to worry about snow blowing at my mother-in-law's anymore because we don't have to do that at that house anymore. So we have no land. We just own the house right here. So really all we have to shovel out is our front walk, and we have a parking spot across the street. So we have to make sure that that's okay, so that we can get in and out of that parking spot. And that's really all the shoveling that we have to do. So that's actually a good thing. I have been really trying to get back into exercise, and we have an erg machine here, and I've mentioned this before, but it's really a great overall machine. And I really have just gotten out of thinking about my body and trying to take care of things over this past year. So one of the things what I wanted to do when I came back was really dedicate myself to that. And I actually got a journal. I don't write a lot in there, but I will write, I'll just kind of keep track in general of what I'm eating, and I'll keep track of my medicine that I have to take, keeping track of the exercise that I do, so I can see what's going on. I did injure something in my leg or somewhere, lower back, whatever, but it's not like a muscle thing, and I think it's more like a sciatica. So one of the nerves, I think, is pinched somewhere. So this is actually helping that, which is great. And I'm doing the erg, and then I'm also doing this yoga stretch program that I have. So I'm really trying to focus in on that, and it's really helping. I think that it's really making a difference. What I've always liked to do is walk. So I need to get this area loosened up enough so I can do that again. I can walk, but my hip area really tightens up pretty quickly. So I'm really working to get that taken care of, so that when the weather gets really nice, what I would like to do, my goal would be to get up when I get up in the morning and I'm working at home, I could go out early and take a walk, and then come back, do my work day, and then get on the erg and do the yoga in the evenings. So that's working. That's my plan, and it's working out really great so far. We've also I usually do most of the cooking in the house, but Sophia, because I go into Boston, I go in on Tuesdays and Fridays, and Sophia's been kicking and she's like, I'd like to do some cooking. Can I do the cooking on Tuesday? I'm like, you go, girl. So I walk in the door and somebody else is taking care of dinner on Tuesday nights, which is really, 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 really lovely. So that's kind of where things are. Work is still crazy, and as you know, with the United States, things blink and something changes, and we have to deal with the federal government. So things are up and down every day. Not quite sure where we're gonna kind of come out of this at the end. So that's a day-by-day process. The FAFSA did work better this year, and so we are in the process of getting awards out earlier to students. So that's a good thing. Can't guarantee anything for next year. Can't guarantee anything for next week, but we'll make it through one way or another. And I'm looking forward to the time change and getting back to some warmer days, and being able to do some barbecuing outside and doing some lighter knitting. So I guess that's it for now. Thank you for joining me. And again, I know I haven't been here in a while, but I'm hoping that I can kind of get back to a regular schedule for doing this. But thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye.